do not be in debt in South Korea. All right, okay? Because those gangsters will find you, and again, like I said, they will take out your internal organs. They will actually come here. Bah, they will hit you, use your blood, and go like, now sign here in your own blood, so I own your body.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm sure you heard by now, Double Toasted is heading out on tour, bringing you a night of comedy, games, and some interaction with the audience out there. Get tickets by going over to doubletoasted.com or going over to X1 Entertainment. Hey, we'll see you soon. Hey everyone, support our Patreon, which helps us to continue bringing you our live streams, videos, and podcasts while bringing you new content such as exclusive live streams and animated shorts.
But now, my friends, we're going to go ahead and get into the big reviews. We got 2 big reviews tonight, chat, and they're going to be long ones. I'll tell you right now. As Martin smiles. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. But all I'll say is, it's 2 TV shows. Martin has seen a good portion of each.
Yeah,
I've seen at least one.
About half of each.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's perfectly fine. So just know that's what we're going to discuss what we've seen, and I've seen almost all of Midnight Mass, but we'll get into that in a bit because the first one we're going to be talking about right now, chat, is Squid Games. And people are like, "What the hell is Squid Game? What is that?"
Right?
Squid Games. What are you talking? People were. It's funny because it was last week. People were asking me, "Have you seen Squid Game yet?" I was like, "Is that a new Xbox Live game? Is that on Game Pass? What are you talking about?" I was so confused. And they're like, "No, it's a new Netflix series." And I think it wasn't until you brought it up on a previous show that we did that, it's like, I've been watching it. It's been trending #1. I'm like, shit, okay.
People going nuts for it, yeah.
So we got to talk about this. Yeah, chat, this Squid Game is a South Korean Netflix series. It's produced by Netflix, but it's being created by an up-and-coming South Korean director, at least in the last, I'd say, 15 years. He's gained a lot of renown, and this is like his really, truly like big first international release. It's directed by Kwon Don-hyuk. I'm going to tell you right now, chat, I'm going to butcher every South Korean name in this show, but they're like, hey, we know this is made. They were very smart about this because we know that we're making this for an international audience, and they give them numbers to remember that. Yeah. I'm like, oh, thank God. So when I butcher this person's name, I'm just going to refer to them by their
I couldn't
number.
remember anybody's name or number. I just know them by their face.
Okay, that's perfect. That's fine. I will provide you with the numbers to the faces, Martin. Okay. We'll have a good time with this. But the whole premise being, in a world where you have poor schlubs, apparently mostly in South Korea, according to the show, down on their luck, they're approached by individuals to participate in a fun game. In a fun game, come here, we'll give you a whole bunch of money. It's going to be great. You're not doing shit right now.
You're in financial ruin or big trouble.
Ruin.
So what do you got to lose? You got a chance to win money and get yourself back on your feet.
Exactly. Yeah, ruin and debt to gangsters who will literally, next time I see you, I will remove your eyeballs and kidneys and I'll leave you for dead on the street. And if you're still alive, I'll come back for your stomach and your balls too. Yeah. Like that's where a lot of our characters are at in this, and we'll go into details about the characters of the show itself. But yeah, that's the whole premise. They participate in this seemingly ordinary game, but they soon realize that is not what they initially thought. That maybe they were misled, but they have every opportunity to possibly get out, but that money, baby, that money, billions of wons, millions of US dollars. Let's go ahead and look at the trailer for Squid Game.
게임을 거부하는 참가자는 탈락 후 처리된다.
Well, this is Battle Royale. This is the South Korean version of something like Battle Royale. I'm like, it's definitely inspired by, definitely has the DNA of something like that. A lot of different properties over the last 20 years. That movie's 21 years old now. Came out in 2000, the original Japanese Battle Royale.
All right, I thought it might be older. But
2000, I believe it came out. Could be older. So 21 years old.
Yeah, I guess that's
right. And a lot of shows, a lot of books, a lot of movies, a lot of video games. I mean, there's literally a video game that have like Battle Royale mode inspired that movie.
Well, the thing is, Battle Royale always gets the credit as being the thing. Because with the Hunger Games, everybody's like, oh, it's a ripoff of Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Forgetting that the Running Man had the same idea way
True.
before that.
True. I think just battle royale has been popularized because that's just been a part of like modern pop culture for the last 20 years, and that's why it sticks. I mean, that is the entire premise of this show, is that you get these destitute people, these poor schlubs who have absolutely nothing, and they participate in these games, and they're literally the most violent things, and they're all based on like seemingly ordinary childhood
Children's
games.
Yeah, like starting off with red light, green light,
which I played. I imagine you played when you were a kid.
Sure.
It's like, yes, we're going to start off with that game, but if we see you moving around, we'll shoot you. We'll blow your head off. We'll blow you at your kneecaps, and we'll come down and we'll finish you off. We'll shoot you in the head. And everyone's like, whoa. And this show, I'll tell you right now, is very bloody. It is very gory. Even initially, even before we get to the Squid Game,
Sure.
It's like, listen, do not be in debt in South Korea. All right, okay? Because those gangsters will find you, and again, like I said, they will take out your internal organs. They will actually, like, come here. Bah! They will hit you, use your blood, and go like, now sign here in your own blood so I own your body. All right? That's how desperate a lot of our characters are in this.
But yeah, for different reasons, but they're all about that on that level of desperate.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder, like, is this show just like a statement on society in South Korea that money is just that important?
I think it definitely is a statement. I mean, a big part of the show, because initially when you think like, what is this whole thing about?
Yes.
Like, why does this happen? And that's a big mystery in the series itself. As we get to know all these characters and all their weird personalities and some of their backgrounds and the reasons why they're there is this greater mystery that we're trying to solve along with all these characters. Like, how long has this been going on for?
Yes.
Why are they doing this? Why these games? And it really is. And I realized watching it over time, I'm like, oh, this is a morality tale. This is about childhood morality. Whereas I've always said, it's like children are not born with morality. Humans are not born with morality. Like, humans initially, when we're little kids, we learn how to share in school. We learn how to be nice. We learn how to treat others with respect. But when you're a kid and when you're learning all these things, and some kids aren't learning at the same rate that you are, they can be cruel. They can be mean.
They can be, but there's something that is inherent in humans, or at least in most, which is empathy. Like maybe you only know what you want and you do whatever to get it.
Yeah.
And you hurt somebody and you see the effect of that. Or somebody does it to you and then you make the correlation like, oh, so when I do that, it feels like this. So, all right, maybe there is a back and forth, a give and take, and I shouldn't do that. Sure.
Except, when you have, they say 45.5 billion won, which is the equivalent of like $34 million in the line. And you're like, yeah, morality, get out of my way as you fall to your death.
That's kind of the saddest thing, is people who are drawn into this not knowing what's going on.
Yes.
And when they do know and go, screw this, I want out. Okay, but here's all that money you miss on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, God damn it.
And I really like that it went into just the morality of the playground. I thought that was really, really cool. The morality of schools. And I was like, oh, I see what you're doing here. But it's taking something seemingly so innocent, but twisted in a really unique way. Having definitely that battle royale DNA of we forcing literally 456 people together, to participate in various events. And we're gonna cur the herd. Like, you can't even imagine. Call the herd like you wouldn't even believe. And so you're going to get your blood, you're going to get your gore. We're also going to get these incredibly emotional scenes throughout it. And I will say, we have a similar problem, I think. So I wanted to ask you, how did you watch this show? Did you watch it dubbed or did you watch it with subtitles?
Oh, I watched it dubbed, which is why I was surprised the trailer you played wasn't dubbed.
Okay.
Because that was my fear. It's like, man, I got to watch all these and they're going to be subtitled. And I tend to lose focus if I'm watching stuff at home. And then I cut it on and it's dubbed. And I was like, oh, well, this works out perfectly.
I know that, it's weird for me because I initially started watching it dubbed, the first episode, in the intro. But it's the lip sync for me. It kind of throws me off sometimes.
Okay.
And I went over to the subtitles. And that's the thing, because I'm watching like a subtitled movie. Even if it's like a movie like I love, like Parasite.
Yeah.
It's like, are they actually like really good? Or I struggle with it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. People always say with anime, it was always that have your nose up if you like dub. Sub is
Yeah,
way
I
to go.
know.
The actors are so much better. It's like, you don't speak Japanese. How do you know they're better?
How do you know the tone, the cadence of what they're actually saying is the way it should be? Like,
Yeah,
you know?
with these dub actors, I find them to be fine.
Okay.
They aren't taking me out of it, with the exception of a couple.
Yeah. Well,
There's one in particular who I was like, I feel like you're really overdoing this.
is it Crazy Horny Lady?
Yes.
Yes, of course. We'll talk about Crazy Horny Lady.
But at the same time, Crazy Horny Lady, just even if you aren't listening to her movements are very exaggerated.
Yes, they are.
So I was like, okay, I don't know how much I can blame the voice actor, but it's still, she feels like anime.
Yeah, no, she does. No, she is a live action anime character. Everyone else, I mean, I guess it's it's interesting to me, and maybe it's my own ignorance. And please, because I know we have some Japanese toasties. I think we have some South Korean toasties as well. But I always wonder because when I think about those specific cultures. Very reserved, very polite.
Sure.
About very family oriented, about honor and things like that. But in a lot of their media, they're very it's
so
very
loud.
exaggerated, very
Yeah,
loud. That's
screaming
anime.
everything.
Yes, and I wonder if that's if that's on purpose because they're so reserved in like normal traditional ways.
And you know what? I was going to bring that up when we were talking about Star Wars Vision. I wondered the same thing.
But there are other characters in this series, and the first one we're definitely introduced to is Gi-hun, who is number 456. And like this guy, look at that smile. He seems to have his act together. He seems to be our
protagonist.
He does.
For the most part.
There are several characters that we follow, but I feel like the show focuses on him the most. So in a way, maybe it's his story. It's a lot of people's stories, but I think he is the primary focus. And despite that smile, I mean, his life is a complete mess. I mean, he is a loser.
Yeah, it's when he's in the game that he seems like, all right, well, this guy has the charisma, and he's sort of the leader, but he's not really the leader because he's not trying to be, and it's all right following him. But whenever he goes home and you see his life, he is such a loser to the point of like, you're just short of being a scumbag.
Yeah. He's, our guy, number 456, the last player to join the Squid Game. I mean, he lives with his mom. He's a deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
He is in debt to gangsters. He's a gambling addict.
Yeah.
I mean, you name a problem. This guy probably has had it or has it at this time. And this is our main protagonist. It's like, when I first see it, I was like, all right, well, he's going to get whatever he deserves because he's not getting his act together. But I will say, what they put him through and a lot of these other characters through, like, you can't, and it's funny, I think they showed it on purpose. Like, you're supposed to dismiss people like this. They're losers. We're not supposed to pay attention to them. They're the dregs of society.
Right.
They're holding society back. But when you're with them in the trenches, when you're seeing what they're going through, and even if it's the simplest of things, whether it's playing red light, green light, and having to outrun a whole bunch of snipers, or whether it's playing marbles with an old man that seemingly has dementia, and like we have to do this or we'll die. I was completely immersed.
Oh yeah.
In a lot of performances, but especially his. I thought he did such a great job, and he was probably my favorite character in the show. He provides like a background for. There's a lot of characters in this.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I mean, a lot of cannon fodder, a lot of just meat that is going to go through the meat grinder, and you're going to watch him explode and get torn apart. There is that. But there are so many characters just like, I want that guy to get the money, or this guy deserves, he has a family, and he's trying. He got fucked over from his boss, and I'm like, oh my God. And so you go back and forth with who you want to, because only one can get it.
I thought they said anybody who wins all 6 games. Like several people could end up winning. But I guess it depends on what, like if the last
circumstances, the games they play.
Yes, it depends on what the final game is.
Exactly. The games can change, and they change games throughout it. That's what's interesting. But I do like that, enemies become friends, friends become enemies. It's that kind of thing, and you just go along on this. It's a really incredible journey, especially with this character. I really like this actor a lot. He did a fantastic job. Now, that's not to say that he's not the only one I really liked or even found very interesting. We're also introduced to Gi-hun's 456's, I guess you can say, childhood friend. San Woo, number 218. Now he's the guy. I love it because they pitch him, or everyone talks about him. He's the guy that made it out.
Right.
He's the guy that did right by his community, by his mom. He went to the university, got that big job in the States.
The prestigious university. Right? Like all you gotta say is he got into that school.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. He's a genius. Yes, we all love him.
Exactly. And
meanwhile,
and then he absolutely everything up. That right off the bat, you find out early on that it's like he's embezzled all this money. He screwed some people over.
Yeah.
He is billions of won, millions of dollars in debt. He's made it. He's made it horrible, and it's like, well, is he as moral as someone like 456? That's what's cool about it.
Especially with 456 not even knowing all that about
True.
his story. He's still telling everybody what a great guy this guy is. And for this guy, he's just like, I wish people quit saying that, but I just can't tell the story again and dash any more hopes.
Because it's weighed on his conscience for so long. I mean, he is also suffering from that guilt with his family, and we also see a lot of his mother, and that's like the only family. And I even love like because she's always calling him, but she's not like nagging him or anything like that. It's just like, how are you doing? Are you eating? I'm so proud of you. And he's like, please, mom, please. We're also introduced to, there are a number of female characters. Probably the one I know a lot of people are really liking right now is Kon-se Byok. Hope I'm saying the character's name correctly, but she plays number 67, or she is 67. And what I like about her, this is interesting because we always hear about like North Korea, South Korea, and we have that. Well, it's like, yeah, you have the North, and those are the bad guys, and the South Korea, those are the good guys. Like these super simplistic versions. But I do love how we go into detail about like that kind of culture, that divide. Like families were separated, like decades ago because of the Korean War, or, the police conflict, whatever you want to call it. And you have it where you have people escaping from the North, and that's what she is. She is a refugee from the North trying to do best by her family. And it's just interesting where people like even say, oh, yeah, you're from the North. Like you just know about it. It's not even the way she looks. It's just her cadence, the way she talks.
Yeah,
it's
probably
very
her
different.
dialect.
Yeah, but it's like to Westerners like us, we wouldn't notice that.
Sure.
And I like that the show spent time going into that.
She, at least where I am halfway through the series, she's one of the ones to watch.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Let's see her affiliation with some of the other people who are in there, who we could say are from the rich camp or the bad camp.
The bad guys.
The bad guys. The people who are clearly the villains.
The bullies.
Yeah.
They're the schoolyard bullies.
Yeah, the bullies.
That's what they are. And it's like, you don't really know what side she's going to be on, what's her allegiance. I mean, for a lot of people, their allegiance is themselves and their families and their brothers and sisters, their children. I mean, we have old men, we have old women, we have mothers and fathers playing this game, we have couples.
Yeah.
Like there's even again, there's so much going on in this show, and to do like a true thorough review and going character by character by character, we'd be here all night.
Yeah, be here all night.
It would take too long. Just I'm focusing on certain people, but there's like moments where there's a couple who's participated through all the games, and we cut back to them occasionally and stuff, but certain things happen, and you're going like, oh my god, what a horrible circumstance to be in. It's really cool. It's really amazing.
It's an interesting show because it's like a lot of things, and I feel like this happens with stuff with South Korea, where it's some premise that is so dark and so up. You're like, ooh, what if this?
Yeah.
But to finally get to but why is this happening? The answer is not always necessarily satisfying. Or the situation, like when you stop and think about this, it's pretty absurd.
Oh, yes, it is.
Like the amount of money and resources to set these games up and to kill these people quietly.
In mass.
In mass. Where all that's quieted away and nobody knows and nothing gets out. It's kind of ridiculous. But a testament to the show is how much they have going on to pull you into it anyway, to where you're like, I know this could never happen, but I'm with it. I want to see where this goes. I constantly found myself on the edge of my seat, and initially the first few episodes they end at a definite point, like the game ends, the episode ends, but then as it goes, an episode will end right in the middle of a game, or right when something happens, and you're like, Well, I'm definitely watching the next one now. This is not a time to cut it off and go do something and come back.
Exactly. That's how they get you. That's how they keep you watching. Very good point. And I'm actually glad you brought up like the whole premise because it is ridiculous. It's supervillain. It's like there's it's revealed in the first episode, like literal evil, Dr. Evil, Blofeld Island, where all this is going on. And I want to mention one of the character. Well, later on, we could talk about this individual because I'm curious to hear your opinion on him. But what do you think of the aesthetic of the show? Because when we're first introduced to it, it's just like, okay, here it is, boom. It's like we have these masked individuals in these pink uniforms with these black masks that have these symbols. It's either a triangle, it's either a square, or it's a circle. We have this Doctor Doom looking guy, the Game Master, or whatever I think it's like the Game Master or something, but he's in charge of the operation, the day-to-day stuff. And again, if you see right here, you have these cutesy backgrounds, like little fluffy clouds and big slides and swing sets, and you see giant animatronic dolls earlier on, and like all these things that again seem so innocent. What did you think of the aesthetic of the show? Did it work for you?
Sure. That just makes it all the more disturbing to make it seem like, oh, it's just something innocent when it couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah. And, and to that, like, making things seemingly so innocent, like, there's like because you think like all these games, like we see like versions of, red light, green light, tug of war and things. It's like, okay, how can you make that nefarious and just like, possibly bloody? But I do like that even spent time on games that are seemingly, I mentioned this before, like with marbles, but like this, again, very unfamiliar with our culture, but like cookies.
Yes.
Cookies and how that becomes one of the most tense scenes, moments, games in the entire show. And simple as you got to carve out a pattern. And then we'll go with that with a pen, and it's like if you mess up, we'll know. We'll know. You better pick the right shape.
I know.
Yeah, that stuff was so great because I'm like, okay, what is this? This seems so goofy. But then when you're actually doing it, how it's shot, and you have these these little pink, they look like Fall Guys. You know those little. You ever played the video game Fall Guys?
I know what you're talking about.
It's like these little colored chubby guys, and it's like, what if you gave them MP5 machine guns and they're just walking around? It's like if you mess up, we'll shoot you. I really like that. You're right. It's that cutesy aesthetic, but it makes it all the more disturbing. But I do want to talk about the character of Oh Il Nam, who plays player number 1, who is the old man. He's he provides the words of wisdom, and he has a really great relationship with a Gihun. Number 456. I really like that. I mean, again, he's an old man, so people seemingly think like, oh, he's the weak one. He's the one where it's like, don't partner up with him because we'll all be.
Yeah.
But I like that it's like, despite his age, he's still very knowledgeable, and he's there for his own reasons, and they expand upon that. And I really like the character. Do you have anything to add with him?
I liked him quite a bit too. It's through so much of it, he's so feeble.
Yes.
But he's sweet.
Very
you like having him there, and he has wisdom to impart.
Yeah.
Where it's good to like. That's one of the redeeming things about 455 is that he is the person who he doesn't just indulge him. He's not just humoring.
Yes.
Respects player
him.
number 1. Yeah, he respects him.
Yeah.
And really like brings him in and through the way he interacts with him makes other people respect him and interact with him.
You're right. You're right.
But like where I am right now, he's starting to become a liability.
Yeah, no, I get you. I know exactly where you are. But it's one of those things like you follow these characters for so long, you get used to a certain dynamic, but there are circumstances like things again. It becomes brutal. It's like you can have that
it's
moral
brutal.
compass.
You see everybody die, but you still form attachments to characters, and that's something like this. This is what it should do. It should make you form attachments and like characters, so that when they get killed, you feel something.
Sure. No, I completely agree with you. Are there any other characters you wanted to mention specifically? I mean, I know I don't really have any slides for them, but we talked about Horny Girl. I mean, that's what she is, whatever her number might be. But she was one of the ones that personally I found to be, her number is 212. She's number 212.
Okay.
She is a Han Mi Niao. But she was one of the ones that was kind of taking me out of it. I know that she's supposed to be just this exasperating person, or and you literally have characters going, "Oh God, this bitch," we got to deal with her. But sometimes she worked, but a lot of other times I'm like, all right, I can go without some of this. It feels too much.
This time she's too much in the way where when people are rolling their eyes, I'm like, how is nobody really it's like yelling at her?
Yeah.
And you know what? That's the thing about the bully. The only time I like him is like, at least he's willing to put her in her place.
That's right. Yeah, one of the gangsters. Yeah. But he puts her in her place, creates another enemy. That's the thing. A friend becomes an enemy. So you got to watch out.
But she is such an X factor where her allegiance will change on a dime, and she is. I would never take my eye off of her.
No. She changes allegiance just for the sake of convenience for herself. That's what it's all about. I know where you are right now in the episodes, but in the next like 3, because there's 9. So the next 3 to 4, there are so many characters because we're whittling it down. It gets to a point when there's
where I am, there's
few.
still most of the main characters are still around.
Gotcha. And
they've knocked off one.
Yeah, and you have those characters like, hey, it's not going to be me, and then and it's like, wow, it was a graphic, disturbing death. So it's really cool. Now we've been very positive about this. Some criticism directed at some of the exaggerated acting from some of the actors, but I wouldn't say like you're so bad that I can't watch you. It's like maybe it doesn't always work for me, but you're a wild card, like you said. That's cool. Now I know you've even gotten in these episodes. But it's very obvious that this was definitely made for an international audience because, not only because of the numbering system, because it's just hard for us to remember those names, but it's like, we got to get some American actors in here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we got to get some American English-speaking actors.
Oh.
And this is later in the season.
Okay.
And I will say, my God, they're bad. Or
Really?
it's just the delivery, or maybe, the director, Hwan Dong-hyuk, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name. He's a South Korean director. I don't know if he speaks English or there's always, it's a struggle when you work with someone who doesn't speak the same language as you. And I'm just like, these guys are just, they're like, we're literally like, oh, and that one died. How fun. It's like, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like, it comes out of just left field. It's just really awkward. It's like monologuing villainous dialogue, like living lavishly, having a naked woman like feed them grapes. I'm like, this is just weird. It just came out of nowhere.
Oh, I really hate you're telling me this.
Yeah, and it's
because I'm anxious for this show to end so I can go back and finish watching the rest of them. And
yeah, it's
okay.
Be prepared for that. And that really took me out. I'm not. It's not really spoilers. I'm just telling you what these guys say.
Okay.
What these guys care. I'm not saying what their position is or what they do, but you have these guys. They come in here and they're not good. I don't like the delivery. It really took me out of it, especially when we're introduced to so many really cool and well-written characters that I did enjoy. Even when they did get exaggerated, or they did yell or seem like, they get yelled that loud. These guys feel like those in a show that already feels like this is definitely a cartoon and it's taken so seriously and it works, to bring some of those characters, it does not. It does not work for me, and so that was my big criticism of it in the latter episodes. I wish and the thing is, they could have even brought in those characters. They could have done that. It would have been fine. But if you just didn't make them like super villains, like 1960s era, like Marvel or Batman villains or something like that. It was like, you don't need this. You can take that out. It didn't work for me. However, still really enjoyed the show overall. Loved it. We'll see if this is going to get a season 2. I'm not sure, but if it's one and done, I'm like, that's great. This is an excellent show. If you like something like Battle Royale or hell, even Hunger Games or anything that's the equivalent of it, or just South Korean cinema. If you saw something like Parasite and recently and you're like, oh, this is great, I think this is another great gateway to that. And so for myself, for Squid Game, I would give it it's a full price. It's a full price for me.
Yeah,
what about you?
Where I am on it. It's I haven't seen enough to really give it a complete rating. But where I am, outside of the ridiculous premise, it's a low full price for me.
Okay, low full price. No, totally understand that. I get that. So there you go, chap. Squid Game. Martin and I both really liked it. At least up to the point where Martin has seen it. But yeah, it's fun. I recommend checking it out. I think it's a good gateway to South Korean cinema.